Hi everyone, this is Steve Krause and welcome to English 444 Online. What I have here right now is a introductory video where I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the issues of the class, the walk through the syllabus. The course is called Writing for the World Wide Web, and that means two different things. One is that we'll be doing a lot of things. We'll be learning about the technologies of the web, HTML, CSS, and even some HTML5. The other thing is it's a course about the sort of writing that one would do professionally as presented on the web. And this is where we get into things like social media and content strategies. Here are the books. Eric Freeman and Elizabeth Robson's Headfirst HTML and with CSS and XHTML, and also their Headfirst HTML5 Programming, Building Web Apps with JavaScript. These are two new books of the course for me that are about making web pages. The other three books that you need for the course are Christina Halverson's Content Strategy for the Web, Ginny Reddish's Letting Go of the Words, Writing Web Content That Works, and Clay Shirky, Here Comes Everybody, The Power of Organizing Without Organizations. All these books are available at your usual bookstore, online retailers. I actually didn't even bother to order them through the EMU bookstore this year because so many students tend to order them themselves. If you need me to order them through the EMU bookstore, just let me know and I'll try to do my best to do that. You can read the hardware and software warnings on your own, but let me just summarize them here really briefly. It's a class called Writing for the World Wide Web. And as a result of that, there's a fair amount of coding, HTML, XHTML, CSS, HTML5, and there's a fair amount of computer geeky stuff that you have to sort of get comfortable working with if you're not comfortable with already. I've taught this class now for a long time, over 10 years, and every semester there are people in the class who know more about this stuff than I do. And then there are people in this class who are going to have challenges because the technology is new and frightening and confusing and things like that. You have to figure out for yourself where you're at with that. If you're someone who is really, really comfortable with the coding and the programming and all that kind of stuff, help those folks who aren't, because they will appreciate your help. If you're someone who needs help, ask. And recognize that working with some of this stuff might take a little bit more time, and so you just have to sort of figure that into how it's going to work for you for the class. But always be aware that I'm always here to help, and I'll do my best to guide you through the process. And even if that means meeting in person, which I frequently do in a class like this to help people through the projects. The other thing that's probably pretty obvious is that this is an online class. Now, online classes have certain advantages. For example, you can I'm coming at you today in my office from one corner, but I don't have to be here. I could be at a beautiful beach watching the sunset, or in Paris, or even on a roller coaster. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ah. But the point is this. The point is that you have to attend the class electronically no matter where it is that you're trying to, where you're coming from. So, towards that end, the online attendance policy is really important. The first thing that's important is that it's not a self-paced class. It's something that it's a socially mediated learning experience, which means that you have to work with others and discuss with others the stuff that we're reading and working on, things like that. So as a result of that, there are deadlines in the class. Generally speaking, you're supposed to post things on Mondays and Wednesdays. We'll talk about that when we talk about the schedule. And as I say here in terms of the online attendance, you need to post a minimum of twice a week between Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays. If you don't post at all during that time, I will count you as absent. And if you are absent for a total of 4 times, I'll dock your participation grade by 30%. And if you're absent by more than 4 times, I'll dock your participation grade by 120%, which will make it impossible for you to pass the class. Now, the course in terms of points is basically made up of three components, a fourth component if you're a graduate student. The first component is participation, meaning that just showing up is important, but how you participate will earn you certain points. And participation for the term is worth 250 points. I generally divide that in half, and so I'll give you a midterm grade of about 100, of 125 points, and second part for another 125 points, and I'll let you know how you're doing. The key thing about participation, and you can read the details of that on the website. The key thing about participation, though, is that you actually have to do it. So that means that I expect people to post to the discussions in the comments down underneath here on the blog on Mondays and on Wednesdays, unless there's a holiday like Martin Luther King Day that's Tuesday or something like that. But the point is you begin the discussion, you have to post on Monday or on Wednesday. Now, I want to point out, Monday is 24 hours long. I mean, Monday begins at midnight and it ends at midnight. So if you want to post at 1 o'clock in the morning on Monday, that's fine. Not 1 o'clock in the morning Tuesday, 1 o'clock in the morning on Monday. If you want to wait until midnight on Monday, that's fine. But it's got to be in that Monday, because that's when the discussion will begin, and everybody has to post to begin the discussion so we can have a discussion, because if everybody waits until Wednesday, then we're out of time. Same sort of thing with a Wednesday. Wednesday's 24 hours long, so it's got to be a post on Wednesday, and you got to wrap it up on Friday. And while the discussion can continue through the weekend, I like to have a weekend, so that's why it's Monday through Friday for the most part on the course schedule. There are basically three writing projects this semester: the XHTML, CSS, HTML5 exercises, the semester social media project, and the content strategy portfolio project. They're each worth 250 points for a total of 750 points. There's also what I call the English 444 portfolio. This is a little bit different from the writing projects in that what you will do is use WordPress.com to create a website, a portfolio website that will hold all the other projects for the semester. And as part of that process, your portfolio itself will be a good website. This will hopefully make sense as we go along, but the reason why I separate them out from the projects is because I want to make it clear that it's important that your website, your portfolio, look as good as the projects that you create during the course of this semester. Graduate students have an additional project, which is called the Writing for the Web Social Media Electronically Mediated Interview. And if you're a graduate student in the class, then you and I need to get together and talk about that a little bit more, although you can read the details on the assignments itself. The XHTML, CSS, HTML5 assignment is essentially a series of exercises. And there's two things I need to tell you about this right from the get-go. The first is that I'm using new exercises this semester, and as a result of that, I'm not even finished creating the exercises yet. So for example, as I look at the website on the first day of class, I see that there are a total of 7 exercises, which is plenty to get you going, because you won't need to finish these until the first 6 or 7 until like 3 or 4 weeks into the class. And so you'll see what I mean. But I'm actually creating the exercises based on these new books. The second thing I have to tell you is that some of this stuff is new to me too. I have never worked with HTML5 before, so we were all in this together as sort of a learning experience, as it were. And that's the thing. The point of these assignments is not to turn people into great computer coders. The point is to give you enough experience and knowledge as to how HTML, CSS, HTML5, that kind of code stuff works, so that as a writer, you understand how to make a web page with code, and what are some of the restrictions and limitations of web pages and other documents on the internet based on the sort of code that's required. And you'll notice that I've used the phrase code several times. No Dreamweaver, no software of any sort will be part of this process. And the reason for this is very simple. First, code is free. You already have everything that you need to make to code web pages, just based on the fact that you have a computer. But the second thing is that code is going to go wherever you go, no matter whatever it is that you use. In other words, if I teach you how to use Dreamweaver, you know how to use Dreamweaver. But if you know how to use code, then you can use that your knowledge of HTML, CSS, XHTML, HTML5, stuff like that to use Dreamweaver effectively. And if perchance you get a job where the software that the company uses is Google Stacker, it doesn't matter that you don't know Google Stacker software because you know the code. The semester of social media basically asks you to join 4 social media activities that you are not already participating in. So a very simple example. If you have a Facebook account, and I assume most of you do, you can't use that as one of your experiments. If you have a Twitter account, same sort of deal. You can't use that as one of your experiments. The other thing that you can do is you could use Google+, which everybody needs to get a Google+ account for some of the stuff that we'll talk about in a second with the content strategy portfolio project. So everybody needs to have a Google+ account anyways, and you could use that as one of your social media projects. But anyways, there's a whole bunch of different stuff out there that counts, and you can read the assignment to see more of the details. But what you'll do is you will participate in earnest in your 4 different social media projects throughout the semester, checking in with each one at least once a week. And then what you'll do is you'll see in the schedule there are various updates that you'll need to post to your 444 portfolio about your progress reports in the social media experiments. And then by the end of the semester, you'll write an essay reflecting on your social media experiences in relationship to the things that we'll read and discuss in the class. You'll note, for example, that a lot of the Clay Shirky readings and a lot of the other assignments that we have assigned on the schedule are tied specifically to the social media project. So you participate in social media, and then you'll write about that experience. That's what that assignment's about. Finally, the other assignment is the content strategy portfolio, and you should read through the assignment there to see what it's about. Content strategy is an interesting term. If you do a search for it on the internet, you'll see, or monster.com and things like that, you'll see a number of different writing-oriented jobs online for websites that describe themselves as content management. And essentially what content management is about is technical writing, professional writing, even though some of the stuff that we'll be reading specifically says that's not what it's about. But it's really about the importance of, you can't just have a website that's well designed, that has a good architecture, that has is very usable, that has a good process to it, but rather you have to have smart content on the website that it reflects the user's needs and purposes and desires and all that kind of stuff. So that's what the content strategy stuff is about. We'll be focusing this semester on a website for the College of Nursing or School of Nursing at EMU, and we'll be working with people in the EMU Communications Office on reviewing and offering advice on what to do with this website. But essentially, the first part of the assignment is a group project where I'll be dividing you into 3 or so groups. We'll be working together on coming up with a content analysis and a suggestion for things that need to be done content-wise on this website for the School of Nursing. And then what you'll be doing is you'll be doing individual submissions of content for the website that will be individual projects, although some of you may work together in smaller groups about this. And you'll create a portfolio of this work, and then finally you'll write a reflective piece that sort of talks about the experience of working on the website and what you've learned about the idea of developing a quote-unquote content strategy for this website. The readings will hopefully help this make a little bit more sense than perhaps as a video makes it seem at the get-go. But it's a project that involves some collaboration, certainly more at the beginning than at the end, but it involves collaboration through the whole process. As I explain on the assignment, one of the ways that we'll be collaborating on this is that we'll be using Google+, because Google+ has a feature on it called Google Hangouts. And what that allows you to do is to have synchronous, that is same time chat that over where you can have up to 10 people in 10 different windows on your screen talking about whatever it is you want to talk about. In other words, you can literally have a virtual meeting, and it's free and it's easy to use. And all really you have to do is just coordinate with everybody to make sure that they can meet at the same time. I think I haven't tried this experiment in a class before, but I've used Google Hangouts for other meeting type things that I've had with other colleagues in terms of work stuff, so I'm pretty confident it's going to work out. The schedule. Um, two things. Two things I'll say about it. First off, the way that it works is that you'll note that it says due Monday, finish by Friday, finish by Wednesday, or due Wednesday, finish by Friday, or next week because it's Martin Luther King Day on the 16th, due Tuesday, finish by Wednesday, and so forth. What that means is that I expect people to finish what is being presented there in terms of posting things on by Monday. So for example, you'll notice on Tuesday, if you look at week 2 in the schedule, you'll see that it says read and discuss 20 things I learned about browsers and the web. What that means is that by Tuesday I will post a place on the website right underneath where this video is, where you will need to post a comment about this reading, 20 things that I learned about browsers on the web, which is an interesting reading. And everyone is expected to post that comment by the end of the day on Tuesday. And then what that allows us to do is to have a discussion between Tuesday and Wednesday, because basically what it means is that we can use Wednesday, usually be Tuesday and Wednesday, but this next week it's just Wednesday. We can use Wednesday to sort of like chat back and forth about it. And then the same thing will happen again on that Wednesday. So that's the way the schedule is set up. Now the other thing I'll mention about the schedule, because I'm trying some different things this semester, it's not complete and it's a moving target. So there's some stuff, it's pretty much set through winter break. And some of the other major deadlines that are on the assignments are pretty much set. But there could be some changes after winter break depending on what happens with the XHTML and CSS exercises and stuff like that. Okay, I think that's it for now. I think that's enough to get started. Again, welcome aboard. I'm looking forward to a great semester, and as always, I'll see you online.